Hello, everybody. How we doing? How are we doing? We're live again. We're at number 3, I believe, if I've got it right. My name is Alzay Calhoun. This is Coveted Consultant. I appreciate you for being here with me today. Today, I have a very specific title. It is how to prospect during the pandemic. This for us is it's a very unique time for us as a community, as a nation, as a world. Very unique time. Um, there's some situations that we're now being introduced to that we haven't ever seen before. Where the majority of us now are virtual. If you do not work in emergency services, you're probably at home with your family, with your kids, with your spouse, etc. So it's a different time. However, there are some rock solid fundamentals that still apply. And for those of us who can be thoughtful enough, can be strategic enough, um, who can be deliberate enough, courageous enough, those fundamentals can still be profitable for our business. So I want to talk today about how to prospect during the pandemic, how to keep talking to new clientele and keep growing your business while we're in such a very unique time. Um, hey, is my audio working? Um, I haven't seen anybody say hello yet, so maybe I should say hello first. Hello, how are we doing? Talk to me, please, in the chat to make sure that the audio actually works, because I'm not sure. It's the only way I know. Yes, good, great. All right, good. We're good to go. Let's keep going then. So let's talk about this idea of prospecting. So first of all, as consultants, we don't like it. As consultants, we avoid prospecting. We really like it when deals come to us. I get it. I appreciate that. In fact, I'm going to make an offer for you today on how to get more deals to come to you. But that was a bit more complex. So let's start with things that are right here at your fingertips, things you can do immediately to create clientele for your business. So here we go. Strategy number 1, right? Laying it right out, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna try to even be more deliberate today. All right, right? Top 10 names, good people. Develop a top 10 names. There are 10 people. When you think about what you do, the services you offer, there is a top 10 people who fit that criteria. They could be current prospects, they can be past prospects, they could be current clients or past clients, doesn't matter. But right now, as we're talking, we think about the idea of prospecting, there are names popping into your head. If you're courageous enough, write them down right now. Go scramble and find a sheet of paper somewhere and write down those 10 names. So write the names down. It's thing number 1. Here's thing number 2. Reach out to them. Call or email. Okay? I don't care which way you do it. Doesn't matter to me. Call or email. Now, right now, you just shuddered. Because you don't really want to do it, right? Because you don't like prospecting, right? Not a matter whether you like to do it or not. We're talking about what's necessary in order to move your business forward. So I realized that at this moment, you may have just shuddered at even the idea of reaching out to those people. We got to push past that. So now let me tell you what to say in that message. So when you reach out, whether you call or you email, it's the same message either way you do it. Here we go. Hey, John, I've been thinking about you, and I believe there are a couple of things you can do in this unique time to move your business forward. Do you have time for a short conversation about that? Question mark. Whether you call or email, whether you text it, put it in direct message, doesn't matter. Hey, Susan, I've been thinking about you, period. I believe I have some suggestions on how you can continue to grow your business during this very unique time, period. Would you like to discuss that today? Question mark. But Alzay, you changed the words. The second time you said it one way. The first time you said it a different way. Stop. It's the sentiment that matters. Now, here's the thing. If that's not true, you can't say it. So if you've been spending this entire time during the pandemic worried about yourself and how you're going to get your next client and where you're going to get money from and woe is me and all that whole negative jargon, if that is where you started, I'm sorry, if that's where your mental attitude is today, then you're not thinking about anybody else. And I got to tell you, if there's any other time in our society where it's really important to consider other people, I would argue that now is that time. So be considerate and think about those top 10 people and think about their situation, how they may be interrupted, how they may be even busier today than they normally are. Think about their situation and honestly think about how you might be able to help their situation. Whether it's free or paid, for just a minute doesn't matter. But just consider how you might be able to be of value to them and ask for a little time, 10 to 15 minutes. Is that worth it? Is it worth it to you to spend a few minutes to think about someone else? Is it worth it to you to extend the hand, open the door for conversation, and have a little conversation? Is that worth it to you? You tell me. I can't make choices for you. But imagine what that feels like for the other person on the other end receiving a phone call from someone who's actually trying to help. Just picture that for a second. With all the current stresses, all the current distractions, all the current options and things and pressures that are going on, for your phone to ring and someone to go, Alzay, I've been thinking about you. And I think there are a couple things you could do to keep growing your business during this really crazy time of ours. I want to just tell you about them now. Do you have a few minutes, Alzay? I don't know of a better way of starting a conversation, but even in the elegance of this approach, there's still some precision involved. There's still some things you got to do. You can't be sloppy about it. So, 10 names. Who are they? Matter of fact, if you're really courageous, tell me how many names you came up with. Put a number in the chat box. How many names do you have right now? 3, 8, 11, 6? How many names? How many names? Right? Who they are is your business. How many names do you have? Right? These people, the reason why those names came up for you is because they're people you already have an existing relationship with. Personal, professional, short-term or long-term. The details are less important at the moment. The people you already have a relationship with. So they would answer the phone or respond to the email if you reached out, or respond to the text or direct message or what have you if you reached out. And these people represent income for you. I don't know of a better way of doing it. Like this is how simple it could be if you'll let it. I appreciate the numbers. Cool's got 6, Dark's got 3, Amisha's got 3, Shades has got 3 to 4, AJ's got 2. So by the way, so what are we doing if you just popped on? We're talking about prospecting during the pandemic. And my challenge to you was to get 10 names, to think about those 10 names of people that you believe can represent some business for your company, that you believe you can actually help in this time, right? My challenge is to get 10 names, not 100, not 50, get 10. And then once you get those 10, consider reaching out to those people. Call, email. If you call, email, text, direct message, I don't care. Right? Now, since we're in this moment, why won't you do it? As simple as that sounds, why won't you do it? Somebody be brave enough, be courageous enough to admit to why they won't do this very simple thing. Tell me why. I'm waiting on responses. Tell me why. Tell me why you won't do it. Why won't you do it? So that means we already did it. So that means everyone's already did it. Fear of rejection. Thank you, Hoku. Thank you, Hoku. Fear of rejection. Fear of rejection. Why won't you do it? Be honest. Be honest in the comments. Be honest. Why won't you do it? As simple as that sounds. Why won't you do it? Because there's a reason why I'm opening up the door for conversation here, right? I'm not just trying to be funny or to be, I'm serious. I'm in the moment with you. Amish tried. He actually tried doing it, but they deferred, saying the offices are closed. Well, Amish, if their offices are closed, then they're closed. You can't do anything if they're actually closed. Now, if you called and someone answered the phone, they're not closed. It's either one or the other. Either you called them and no one answered, that means they're closed. But if you called that number and somebody answered the phone, that means business in some way is being conducted, even if they just have someone present to answer the phones. So they're not actually closed, which means you got to think more about their situation. Why would they have someone answer the phone? So either if they've dialed down their service, if they've quote unquote closed their doors, why is there still someone answering the phone? What's the business scenario on their end that would justify paying someone to answer the phone when they were closed? So this opens the door that I'm talking about. This is why this simple tactic is more difficult than it sounds, because you've got to be thoughtful. Period. You have to be thoughtful. This is not some magic. I'm so tired of the marketing ploys, these ideas that seem to be these one-shot money fall from the sky type of ideas. That's not respectful to us or to those that we serve. There's some thoughtfulness required here. Be willing to be thoughtful about your prospective client situation or your current client's situation. I saw some of the notes come through. So Eric was honest. He said, fear, right? Stan says, I want to meet the need which they have, which has changed during the pandemic. So Stan, all the more reason why to call them. All the more reason. So, hey, Jack, I've been thinking about you, period. Is this an awkward time or what? Question mark. Can we discuss some ways where your business may have changed and how I might be able to help? Question mark. Find the conversation. The spirit behind us being consultants is that we solve problems for people. We know people have problems now. And in this particular moment in time, there's often and some extremes. So people are doing like really, really well. They're more busy than they've ever been. And then there are folks who are not doing nearly as well, who are less busy than they've ever been. So these things are present. And all I'm saying is that the louder and brighter those situations, the more space it creates for actual conversation. Two humans, two adults, two professionals actually dialoguing. Y'all, that's where our work is done. That's where the best consulting work is done. It's done in those conversations. And to those who are honest about fear being the reason why they wouldn't reach out, that fear is stopping you from growing your business. That fear, that self-justified fear that says, no, be still. No, don't send the email. Don't place the phone call. Fear wins and you're still. And so you sit on your hands and I guess you'll just wait till it blows over, huh? Like that's what you're actually doing. That's what you're actually saying. Now, when I play it back, it sounds ridiculous. When I play it back, it's like, no, that's not me. That's not what I'm doing. Well, kind of is. Because if fear's making the choice for you, fear wins. The courageous thing to do is to pick up that phone, to send that email, to send that text message, etc. That's the courageous thing to do. And what I'm saying to you is your prospective client is going to greatly appreciate that courage. Man, thanks for calling. It's crazy as everything. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not quite sure how we're going to move forward, but I thank you for placing the phone call. Big deal. Big deal. Man, okay. So, questions about this, right? We're talking about prospecting during the pandemic. Yes, I understand it's a very unique time. Yes, I'm sure. I know it's a very unsure time. We're not quite sure what's going to be going on. I understand, but you still run a business. You still run a business, and I would bet that your services still have value. That there's expertise you can still offer. And so if it solves a problem for the people you know, then keep moving forward. Don't allow yourself to get stuck waiting for it to blow over, waiting for the news to tell you what to do. The news doesn't what? The news doesn't give good business advice. The news is not very good at that. Right? Well, there's a whole rant that's there. News is not very good at it. AJ said, it's a bad time to ask for business. So good. I'm glad you said it that way. It's a bad time to ask for business. I agree. It's a bad time to ask for business. You're not asking for business. You're asking to solve a problem. You are not asking for business. You're trying to understand a problem, if one exists, and offer to solve it. But Alzay, I might get paid for it. Well, good for you. Good for you. You might do some good work for somebody and actually get paid for it. Who's got a problem with that? That's a good deal. I'm for that deal every single day. But what makes that deal work is the solution you provide. So if there is no problem, then you can't offer a solution. But I bet, AJ, if we were to dig down that rabbit hole a bit further, what we're really saying here is that you're not sure what problem the other person is facing. You're not really aware of what they have going on. And so there's some concern about that. There's some fear, some trepidation about that. And again, I would argue, the beginning of the conversation is please tell me more about what's happening. I want to see if I can help. Whether it's free or paid for just a moment doesn't matter. You just have to understand what's going on before you can offer any kind of solution. Now, as consultants, we say we know this stuff. In our networking circles, we talk like we know this stuff. But I work with clients every single day, and we get really deep down these conversations, and we're not nearly as comfortable, as confident, as clear as we project to be in our social circles. So I'm not asking you to embarrass yourself. I know where the bodies are buried, so to speak. I'm not here to embarrass anybody. But I realize that your willingness to take that forward step is highly valued by your prospective client, even if you don't make a dime. In fact, there's a prospect in my world, someone who has talked about doing business with me. And I have followed up with her now 3 times over the past couple of weeks. And she didn't respond until my second or third follow-up, until my final follow-up. And she responded back. And she needs some more time because she has some unique things happening in her business. Okay. No pressure, nothing weird. I don't feel rejected. I'm not forced. She's not forced to work with me. I'm not forced to sell anything to her. I followed up, though. I asked. I admitted, hey, it is a very unique time. Is there anything I can do in this unique time to be helpful? I asked. And so I'm following the same rules I'm giving you, right? Like, these are the fundamentals. They work, but you've got to get over yourself. You got to get over the fears or concerns that you may have. You got questions, you got comments, you got a response. You don't like where I'm coming from? I'll say, I don't like this. I'm open to that too, right? The dialogue makes us better. Let me try to catch up on some of the comments here. Anand, forgive me, sir, for saying your name incorrectly. I like your approach, and I'll do this. Though I do wonder what to do if I don't have much of a warm prospect content list for my offer. Bet. Yes. So I understand that everyone doesn't have like this long, lengthy list of prospective clients. If we're talking about prospecting during the pandemic, that top 10 of names that I challenged you to create represent, in most cases, represent your best chance at closing your next deal. So before we go into some massive prospecting system method, let's go with where we have the greatest chance of success. And so this short exercise is a way to help you focus your intention focus your efforts and maybe even get a return on that. But I'm gonna tell you, while I'm thinking about this, even if you contact all 10 people and no one does business with you, you don't earn a client, no money is exchanged. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? The fact that you picked up that phone, that you sent that email, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is that a good habit or a bad habit to be in? The fact that you reached out and asked to help, the fact that you reached out and asked to listen, is that a good thing or a bad thing? So 3 months from now, when you do it again, next month when you do it again, in a few weeks from now when you do it again with someone else, are you better off or worse off? See what I'm saying? Like, this is the habit we should be in anyway, and I would argue that now it has even more value than it's ever had. Even if someone doesn't do business with you in the short term, I understand. I don't want to set an expectation that you make 3 phone calls and money just rains from the sky. I'm not interested in that kind of framing. What I am saying is staying in this kind of contact with your best level contacts, your best qualified leads, your best qualified prospects is the most profitable thing you could do. So even if the money that doesn't show up today, the money will show up because your competition is not doing it. Your competition is scared. They're afraid of rejection, et cetera, et cetera. So they're sitting on their hands. Hey, let me, and by the way, I'll come back to this idea of how to cold prospect in a minute. So Anand, if I forget, just remind me in the comments to come back to the idea of how to do cold prospecting at this point in time. So Progressive says, fear that my English isn't good enough. I'm Asian, by the way. Right. So I actually have some clientele that has an accent. And some of those folks have a really thick accent, actually. English is absolutely not their first language. Here's the deal. What's more important? What's more important? Your comfort or their problem? What's more important? Now, you get to answer that, not me. What's more valuable? Your comfort or solving their problem? What I would argue to you, now you can make your own choice. What I would argue is that their problem, solving their problem, understanding their problem is more important than your comfort. That's what I would argue. Now you got to see how you sort that out. We can debate that at a later time, but that's what I would argue. So that even though you may not have, English is not your first language, because English, by the way, is my only language. So if I try to speak any other language right now, you'd be offended because I would butcher the language. So I appreciate those who can speak more than one language because I cannot. But even if English is not your first language, if you speak with an accent, whatever. What's more important is your intentionality to solve the other person's problem. And they appreciate that. Now, you don't prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Make the phone call. Send that text message. Prove me wrong. And have some and you call somebody up, you send that email and have them go, I hate you for reaching out to me. How dare you try to be helpful in this time of need? I'm stuck and I have issues and I hate you for trying to help me. Send me that note. Send it to me. Send it, please. I want that note. Please. Photoshop it, crop it, screen share it, whatever. Send me the communication where someone screams and yells at you for trying to be helpful. That's just not what people do. And I hope you're smiling like I'm smiling. I'm trying to kind of bring it to life so you can appreciate the reality of where we are. People need help, man. It's a complex scenario no matter what end of this you might be on. And what's more important is you getting in that complex thing with them. But it does mean that there's a level of discomfort you have to accept. Period. There's a level of discomfort you're going to have to accept. There's some new things you're going to have to do. Speaking of new things, one of the reasons why I'm less panicked in my business, I don't have the same panic that the news may tell you about. I have some concerns because I'm a concerned citizen just like you are. But one of the reasons why I don't have this super panic is because I have assets in my business that work on my behalf. I have systems that work, and they work on good days and bad days. They work when there's pandemics or not pandemics going on. I have systems that work. And one of the systems that work, one of the more obvious systems that you can probably see from me, is my YouTube platform, is my intentional use of YouTube, building and turning YouTube into an asset for me. That system works. How does that system work in short? People find content of mine that they find valuable. I try to create content that people find valuable. They find that content. They watch sequential pieces of content from me. And sooner or later, they decide that I'm the person that can help them solve their problem. They reach out to me, and we talk about doing business, and some do and some don't. And that system works on my behalf. I create the content. I upload it to YouTube. The YouTube algorithm does what it does. I promote things the best way I know how to promote them. And people find that content, and they find their way on my phone. And then we talk about whether or not we can do business together. That's an asset. And I build it intentionally in my business so that I'm not forced to hard prospect when I'm not ready. So some people in this moment in time right now find themselves out of clients or low on prospects, and now they feel forced to go out and prospect. And see, it changes the conversation. It changes the energy flow of the conversation. It's really uncomfortable, both to you and those you're trying to communicate with. And I don't have that challenge. I don't, because I have YouTube. So what I've been doing is actually starting this week is I have opened the doors to a new training program where I am teaching people the methodology that I use to apply, or that I apply to YouTube. It's the whole thing, how I operate. So if you like how I've been operating on YouTube, I'd like to help you apply the same model to your business. There's a link in the description where you can apply to be a part of the program. Yes, you have to apply. No, it is not free. Yes, you must apply. No, it's not free. But I'd love to talk to you and to see if the way I approach YouTube can help you do YouTube. It is having this asset of YouTube enables me to find you. That's why we're able to have this interaction. It also gives me some predictability on the opportunities that come into my business. I don't have to panic about prospecting like I have before, because I've been through the feast and famine. So if that sounds good, there's a link in the description. You can click, you can apply, and then we can discuss if this fits you or not. So the application is free. There's nothing to buy in the application, but the program is at a fee. So, all right. So let me catch up on some of the questions here. So Daniel says a fear of not succeeding when calling, right? So I appreciate that being a reason why you don't place the phone call. I've talked a lot about how fear can get in our way. We've already kind of covered that. But Daniel, what does success mean? Like when you pick up that phone or when you send an email, what does success mean? And too many of us have a very vague picture of what success means. We don't really know. The best way we know how to measure it is that they pay and become a client. So when I reach out, the only metric I got is, did they pay? And I think we know intellectually that that's not the best way of thinking about how to value our outreach efforts. So again, Daniel, let's kind of go back to the core fundamental. Have you thought about top 10 people? Top 10 people. Have you honestly thought about their situation? It's either a yes or a no. Either you have or you haven't. So if you haven't, don't call them. Done. If you have, then reach out and offer to be helpful. And a framing that I offer my clients is when you have the dialogue, whatever on the phone or on email or in direct messenger, or wherever it is, if you've had the dialogue, do you understand their problem? That is your core method of success, or metric of success. It's not just whether or not did they buy. That's very selfish and very short-term focused. The first valuable metric is, do I understand her problem? Do I understand his problem? I'll tell you, having done this work for a long time, many of us hang up that phone without really understanding the other person's problem. We got on the phone, we pitched, they did not buy, and then we just hang up the phone. And that we've missed tons of opportunity in that dialogue because we were ill prepared for the dialogue. So Daniel, I hope you find that helpful here. First of all, courage. It's not about you, it's about helping them. So when you reach out, your core thrust is trying to understand the problem they're facing. And then once you understand it, you can offer a relevant solution if you have one, because you may not have one, and that's fine too. So hopefully you find that helpful. Shades says, I've talked to one of my contacts and we put together a rough plan to move forward. I'm just scared it will fail because it's dependent upon receiving grant money. Okay. So your job, Shades, as the expert, is to draft a plan with the highest chance of success. I talk about this a lot with this idea of productized services. Your job is to acknowledge that a client is here, and when you get done, the client should be here, right? That's the productized, where you have that clearly understood, a very clear roadmap to the end. So your job, Shades, if you drafted a plan, you should have full confidence in your plan. It's your plan, right? So it's your job to make sure that you've given them the very best plan of success. And if you're comfortable with that, then roll, aggressively go forward. If you're not, then you got to make a better plan. And that's on you being an expert. That's not on them being a client. Let's see here. So Rem says, the spirit of us as a consultant is that we solve problems for people. Yes, sir. Right. Thank you for the high five on that, Rem. Yes, sir. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. Winning Proof says, I reached out to all my current clients just to check on them and had some wonderful conversations. Endeared me more to my clients and strengthened relationships. Yeah, Winning Proof. Yeah, I mean, listen, again, I am not promising that everybody's gonna put a check in the mail. That's an unfair expectation. But I'm telling you, if you'll just pick up the phone and reach out. Now, I promise to talk about cold, right? This is going to blow your mind. You ready? Hold on. You ready? Hold on. Let me get my chair together. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to watch this. Watch. Okay. Your cold outreach works the exact same way. Oh my God, it's crazy. That's crazy. That is crazy. Wait a minute. Alze, you're saying that I can reach out to someone I don't know and I can tell them, hey, Bill, I've been thinking about you, period. I know we're in a very hectic time, period, but I think I have some ways to be valuable to your business. Would you be open to discussing that on Thursday? ? You can do that, Alze? No, wait a minute. I thought I had to have some super supreme software platform. I thought I had to create 40 pounds of content. I thought I needed webinars and funnels and advertisements and blah, blah, blah. See? The core spirit of us as consultants, solve the problem, man. All that fancy marketing stuff. By the way, I have that fancy marketing stuff. I have done that fancy marketing stuff. I have advised clients. I've done it for clients. I feel very comfortable in the technology that's available to help us market our businesses. There's a place for it. But right now, today, at this exact moment, given what your client is going through, can we skip all that for a second? What if we don't do any of that? I just told you about a YouTube course that I'm teaching so that you can follow my process of YouTube. Sounds great if you need it. But today, in this moment right now, pick up the phone, send the email. And for many of us, the difference in our businesses, those who are profitable, those who are not, those who have momentum, those who are not, those who are eating good and those who are not. Did you pick up the phone? Did you send the email? Did you try to be helpful? That standard applies whether warm or cold. That standard applies no matter how many years you've been in business or how much success you had or how much money you made last year or last month. It's irrelevant. Are you willing to be relevant, to be useful, to be helpful to someone else? If the answer is yes, there is commerce inside your response. There's commerce inside your response. but we got to be more focused on helping the other person. You know how many emails I've gotten with people who are honestly trying to help me? Very, very few. Now I've got folks who are trying to sell me stuff. Oh, I get those. I still get those. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Rain, sleet, or snow. Pandemic or non-pandemic. I got plenty of people trying to sell me things. Plenty of them. But how many communications have I received where people are interested in my situation and are trying to help me solve my situation? It's a real short list. If it's not zero, I'm trying not to say zero, so I don't misspeak the truth. But so imagine how many your clients getting, how many phone calls your clients getting, how many emails your clients are getting from people who are actively trying to understand and then help. It's a real short list. It's a real short list, and you get to be on that short list if you'll take the next step. What do we have here? What do we have? So Daniel says that's a good habit to get into. I'm glad you appreciate the perspective, sir. Anand, I'm sure I'm messing your name up, man. I apologize. He says awesome. Yeah, cold prospecting. Yeah, we just talked about it. So Anand, did you hear me about cold prospecting? What do you think about that? What do you think? I'm open to any. Like it, don't like it. Tell me. Let's talk about it. Hisham asks about systems other than YouTube. Right. Man, I got a rant for this one. Respectfully, Hesham, I am not interested in listing out opportunities that might be interesting to you. I have a lot of content on my channel that talks about do not give clients this long menu of decisions or long menu of options, and it's overwhelming to people. So there's plenty of information out there on YouTube or on the internet, wherever you want it, wherever you spend your time. So you can research this until you turn blue in the face. By all means, go do it. Have at it. You need to commit to the system, the method, the approach that you feel the most confident in. And this is true not just for Hesham, but for anybody. You need to commit to the system, approach, methodology that you feel the most confident in, that you believe displays your best skills, your best characteristics. There's a reason why I make video. I feel more comfortable doing that than I do writing, for example. I can write. I do write. I have written content, but the video thing just seems, it's always come easier to me. So that's what I do. And there are many other ways of doing it. But I want to offer some pragmatism here, a sanity check here, that there's always 1,000 ways of doing something. And there are many consultants like me, bright, shining, smiling faces that will tell you that you got to have the next secret tool, trick. Look at my method next. Look at my method next. Okay. But I'll say this and then I'll move on. Every method has its nuances, its details, its complexities. It takes time to get your to get up to speed. There's a learning curve with any system you install. So I don't list systems, but I tell you what, if you like YouTube though, if you can see yourself making videos similar to how I've made videos, if you think that YouTube is a platform that you can use to appropriately display your expertise and you want to leverage it to gain inbound opportunities, then I'd love to show you my method for using it. And I mean soup to nuts. Everything from I don't have a YouTube channel. I don't know how to make video content. I don't know how to upload it. I don't know how to promote that content. I don't know how to get clients from the content. We're covering all of that. And so if this method makes sense to you, I'd love to help you do it. There's a link in the description that you can click. It is a program you have to apply for. The application is free, but the program is not free. So you got to apply because we got to talk about it. I want to make sure that it actually suits your needs. So let's have that conversation, and then we can discuss honestly if the program is good for you or not, if it solves for your problem. So that's my perspective. Agree or disagree. I understand you don't have to like it, but that's the approach that I take to be of most value to my clients. Yeah, so Daniel got some value. We got some value. Excellent, man. I think there's some comments that I missed. Uh, uh, Yep, Daniel's good. James asked, will this live stream be posted later? Yes, the same link you use to get here is the same link you'll use to watch the replay. So you'll have access to that. Daniel's thumbs up. Anand is loving it. Thanks for giving me more confidence in going straight for the conversation, even when they're strangers. Amazing. Right. So, but here's the thing. So Anand, the light bulb's kind of gone off for him. And I hopefully the light bulb goes off for all of us. What we're after here is conversation. You're not after a sale. Calling somebody up and angling for a sale is awkward for everyone. What you're after is a conversation. And if someone is unwilling to have a conversation with you, then they're unwilling to be a client of yours. If you can't get a conversation, you'll never get a sale. So that's just safer for all of us, having a conversation. So also, if you don't have a conversation, how in the heck do you know what you're offering and whether or not you can actually help them? You need the conversation. That's why I'm having the conversation prior to you joining the YouTube program, right? Because I want to make sure that it actually fits your scenario, right? Who needs more stuff to do? I don't. You don't either. So I want to make sure that it suits you. Good. Karam. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your name. When to stop prospecting activity if it's not working out? Like I started emailing many people and didn't hear back. Should I stop doing it or keep on or wait for a day when I receive a reply? Okay, so Kurum, here's the deal. Today's rules, right? Prospecting during the pandemic, 10 names. 10 names. Not 100, not 1,000, not 100,000, not some database. Scratch it. 10 names. Okay, so 10 names, and these are people that in most practically speaking, know you best, you know them best, and you can help them with something. Your job is to get them on the phone. Call, email, text, whatever you got. Get them on the phone or interact with them, right? However you do it. Voice, chat, it doesn't matter. Have a conversation. Okay, so let's focus on, let's put the odds in your favor here. That's how I want to make sure we all appreciate that. This method I'm describing to you here is about putting the odds in your favor, people who are most likely to answer the phone, and then engaging them in such a way where they're most likely to engage back with you. So people you already know, and then you're trying to actually help them. And that puts the entire thing more in your favor. So what we do not want to do is just send out pounds and pounds of email. That is hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to execute. And the email that they receive is they know it's a form letter you found online somewhere, and you copy and paste it and you sent it 1,000 times. So Karam, I bet if we looked at the email you sent, it's boilerplate, it's copy and paste. If you'll be honest with us, tell me, I bet you copy and pasted it. Did you even write it yourself, or did you borrow from somebody else? So there's nothing wrong with templates and scripts, and I value all of those things. But I want to make sure that as we do this outreach, that it is targeted, it is specific, it's well-intentioned. It's not just something that we're doing because we want to prospect or because we want some more clients. That's selfish. I'm moving on. Anand says, yes, sir, I love it. This is actually our strategy. We're in the Alex Berman course, and he teaches something similar. We're launching early to serve businesses struggling from pandemic. Right. Okay. So Anand, here's what I would say to you. So you're in a course. Great. Got it. So follow instructions. First of all, if you're in a course that you paid to get you somewhere, follow it. Okay. So follow it. That's one. Don't do it your way. Do what Alex says do. Follow instructions. Don't outsmart the process. So that's number one. So number two, I would recommend, and then you talk to Alex about this, I would recommend that you not focus on businesses struggling during the pandemic. I'd recommend that not be your focus. The pandemic is a short-term situation. And the people who are struggling from the pandemic are also in a short-term situation. So in other words, for the longevity of your business, you can't serve struggling in the pandemic for the next 6 years, because there won't be a 6-year pandemic. So that's first. Like it's not a long-term play for you. It's number one. Number two, the clients that you get, even if they were struggling in the pandemic, 6 months from now, they'll have a brand new situation. So whatever you offered them in this scenario will not be relevant to them in just a few weeks or a few months. So I don't think that struggling in the pandemic is the right framing or the right target. If you disagree, talk back to me. I accept all comers. I'm open to the dialogue. It makes us better. But yeah, I warn my clients against short-term focus. And that's just not true with this particular scenario that we have, but in general, there's always some theme. There's always some new sexy thing you got to know or do, or etc. And we get caught up in that momentum. We get caught up in that wave. And you know, so let me apply what I just said to my own situation. I'm recommending YouTube as a place where you go to build a audience, a clientele, some momentum, some authority, some know, like, and trust for your business. But I try very hard not to introduce this as the next flash in the pan idea for you. If YouTube makes sense, let's do it. If it doesn't, let's not. And I'm really okay with that. I also know that YouTube is going to be standing for the next 6 months, 6 years. I feel really good about that. I feel really good about the people who leverage YouTube will still be around for 6 months, 6 years. I feel real good about that. So I feel comfortable offering YouTube as a solution to people, the platform and how to leverage the platform as a solution to people, because I know it has longevity. I know it has legs. And so I would encourage you, however you think about your business, to think about it from that framing. Now, there is a specific application for YouTube in today's context. And inside the program, we're talking about that. But we talk about it in the right context. Hey, this is a long-term asset for us. Let's talk about some short-term adjustments that we might make. I want to see you successful 5 years from now, 5 months from now. I don't want to see you stuck because the thing you tried didn't work. Oh my God, I can't tell you how many of those stories I hear. Alze, I tried it and it didn't work. Oh my gosh. Because oftentimes our approach was just faulty in the first place. So that's my warning. Take it or leave it. You know, you could be yelling at me right now. I accept that. By the way, if you enjoy this approach that I have for YouTube, if what I just said about YouTube resonates with you, you can apply to be a part of the small group that I'm teaching it to. There's a link in the description. Yes, you must apply. No, it is not free. Cool. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? What else did I plan to share with you today? So let's talk about long term. Yeah, let's talk about long term. Let's talk about long term. Let's talk about post pandemic. Let's talk about post pandemic, after the pandemic, because there will absolutely be an after the pandemic. And so let's talk about how we should be thinking so that we can keep growing our business after the pandemic. Let's talk about how we should be thinking so that we don't start thinking about our business after the pandemic. Let's keep thinking about our business while the situation is going on. Let's think through the situation, not after the situation. So here's one very valuable thing I want to say, and it may not be what you might be expecting me to say, but I think you need to hear it and hear it 100 more times before it's all said and done. Consume less content. Alze, how dare you? You make content, Alze. Yes, I do. I make a lot of it, actually. Consume less content. Here's what I mean. There is content that is useful to you, that's moving you forward, and content that is not. And right now, for example, we're getting inundated with a lot of content that's just not useful to us. And I don't mean not only to us as consultants, but us as individual people, as you as an individual person. There's content being thrust in your face right now that is just not very useful to you. And I would encourage you to highlight, pinpoint, acknowledge what that content is. Hey, that's not very useful to me, and cut it out. Stop watching, stop reading, stop clicking, stop sharing, stop opening. Stop it. And if you decide that the coveted consultant content goes in that category, then so be it. It was a pleasure having you, but now you have to go. And I don't have any ill will about that. Move on. But consume less content. Let me help you apply that. When you wake up in the morning, no content until X time. I'm not going to take in any media, any content, any new stuff. I won't take in anything new until 11 o'clock, for example, or until 10:30, for example. The same is true on the end of your day. After 9 p.m., I don't take in any more content. Period. So I'm not watching YouTube. I'm not watching videos or the news or whatever it is that that content source that distracts you. At 9 p.m., it goes away. At 10 p.m., it goes away. At 6 p.m., it goes away. So set those new bounds for yourself. So no content until blank, no content after blank. In between there, you can have a blast, whatever you want to do. New boundaries. Why am I saying that? And what does that have to do with you building your business through this pandemic and preparing for the post-pandemic? Because if you're overwhelmed with the millisecond by millisecond data in the news feed, you can't focus. You can't think past your nose, let alone 30 days from now or 6 months from now or 3 years from now. You can't think. There's just too much stuff in your brain. So you got to give yourself some disciplines that help you better sort through what's important and what's not. And some of the stuff you just got to turn off. And if you decide that Coveted Consultant is part of what you got to turn off, cool. If I can fit in that block that you got for content, cool. Glad to have you. If you decide it's got to go all together, it is what it is. What I care more about is your situation, you improving your situation. However that shakes out. So that's preparing for the pandemic. Oh, I'm sorry, preparing for post-pandemic, right? Post-pandemic, clear your thinking, all right? So number one, consume less content. Thing number two in preparing for post-pandemic. Thing number two, create more content. Take in less, produce more. Make the video you're supposed to have made. Write the content you were supposed to have written. Write the email, draft the ebook, create the infographic, make the webinar, whatever piece of content that is on your desk, it's due, and you haven't done it, make it. Make the content. Make more content than you are consuming. Produce more content than you are consuming. Produce relevant content to the avatar you want to speak to, and make more of it. So even if you follow my advice, top 10 names, you call 10 people and none of them answer the phone. You call 10 people and they said to you, Robert, we're so busy right now. We can't think about anything. We don't know what to do. Thanks for calling, but you can't help us right now. Even if that's how it plays out. Whatever they should have heard from you, whatever service you would like to offer them, whatever advice you didn't have a chance to offer, belongs in content. Make the video, write the blog post, make the letter, whatever it is. Do it. Put it in content. Produce it. Publish it. Do it. Now, if you follow what I'm saying, here's your possible picture. Let's say you did that once a week. Let's say that the whole pandemic ends in 6 weeks. All of it just goes away, poof, in 6 weeks. 6 weeks from now, you will have 6 pieces of focused content you didn't have today. Are you better off or worse off? I'm trying my best to make this as pragmatic, as grounded, as practical as I possibly can. Most of us find ourselves undertooled for the moment because we don't have the assets we know we're supposed to have. And then we complain because we don't have the system, the strategy, the thing, the da. Nah, You didn't do what you're supposed to do. And you know, as a consultant, that creating content is part of how you get a new clientele. It's part of how you communicate your value proposition. Make that content, man. Make it. Now, if YouTube is part of that content creation, I'd like to help you. I'm teaching a small class. You can apply for that class in the link below, and we can talk about how the whole thing works. Yes, you have to apply. No, it's not free. I'd like to help you. But no matter whether you use YouTube or not, who cares? Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, it doesn't matter. TikTok, it doesn't matter. Wherever your client is, however you phone, wherever your client is, however you reach them, create the content that will resonate with them. And when the pandemic is over, you'll have content and an opportunity to interact and engage. Are you better off or worse off? Okay. That's what I got today. That's what I got today. I've enjoyed the dialogue. I've enjoyed doing these with you. Final call for questions. If you have any, I'm happy to hang around for a few more minutes. Chit chat. If you don't like what I'm saying, you disagree, got a different point of view, want to do something else, I'm open to that dialogue too. So I'm after your improved situation. I'm after seeing your business grow. I'm after you deliver. I'm after helping you, trying to help you deliver more value into the marketplace. And the better you get at delivering that value, the more money you make. It's a good deal for the marketplace. It's a good deal for you. So I'm in this game for that picture. So however that unfolds for you is how it unfolds. If I can help, stellar. If I can't help, I'm okay with that too. That's what I got, y'all. So closing thought, top 10 names. Write those 10 names down. Call, email, get a conversation, understand their problem, offer to solve it. And if you do the first 10, then do 10 more. Are you better off or worse off? All right. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.